Hello, friends. Good morning and welcome to this session of stress management. So, today we will be talking about the stress management from the perspective of yoga and Ayurveda. So, I have a few of the slides in the form of PPT, which I would be like to share to you. So, now, in this time of pandemic, it has become very essential to understand about the stress and also about the approaches which the Ayurvedic physicians and the yoga practitioners are giving to the people. So, what actually we will be doing is we will be trying to understand what is been given in the literatures and how these literatures can help us to understand better about the management of the stress. तो अगर हम सादी भाषा में अगर बात करें तनाव के लिए तो तनाव कैसा है कि हमारे मॉर्निंग की एक्टिविटीज़ से शाम तक जो जो भी हम एक्टिविटीज़ करते हैं उसमें किसी न किसी रूप में हमें वो प्रभावित करता है। सो स्ट्रेस बेसिकली इज़ एसेंशियल बट हम उसको गिवन सिचुएशन को रिस्पॉन्ड कैसे करते हैं विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। So it all depends upon not only the condition, but how we will be responding to that particular condition is very important. Say, for example, there is a condition whereby we know that suddenly that tomorrow we would have to appear for an exam. So if we know that tomorrow we would have to appear for the exam, so automatically one thing is that we won't be able to enjoy the food which has been given to us. We won't be able to have the sleep. So automatically the stress kind of changes is seen in the individual. But alternatively, if we are able to calm down the self, which means the response will be different here, whereby we see yes, in this particular situation also I would be you try to relax your own self, you try to do your own self counseling. Yes, I will be able to go ahead with this. So this same situation and the response to this will be different. So basically, if we understand the stress is the response of to the given situation. The situation is not bad. Our response will change the outcome. So, is there somebody who does not have stress? No. I think everybody would be having some or the other kind of a stress. And stress is very common for all of us. So, once we have accepted that this is going to be part of our life, so why not to go ahead and understand the stress and give a better response to the given situations. So what I'll do is I'll ask the organizers to share the slides so that I will be able to give you the presentations and we will be able to understand to depend upon the technologies. Technologies usually takes toll. So sometimes being dependent on the technology.
Sir, your voice is low and slides are already shared. Hello? Dr. Amit?
If it is with, yes.
थोड़ा आपका आवाज कम है, वॉल्यूम जो है उसको बढ़ा देंगे तो क्लैरिटी से सुनाई देगा और स्लाइड्स मैंने शेयर की है। पार्टिसिपेंट्स आपको स्लाइड्स दिख रही हैं? स्लाइड्स ऑलरेडी मैंने शेयर की है।
Okay. And do you feel that the voice is now okay? Should
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Okay. Okay, okay.
It has been uploaded, but let's see. If it does not happen, even I think there is some connections issues, which is why the video is also, I believe, is not visible. Yeah, am I visible, Dr. Pooja?
No, no.
Yeah,
Your video is
yeah. I
not
think,
visible. Only
yeah.
voice
I
is
think
there.
it says, yeah, it says that there is some problem in the connections. It says that it seems to be low at the moment. So what I'll do is, since I have these slides with me, so till the
Okay.
time this slides gets to the loading, yeah, I'll start the slide which is there on my computer, and I'll continue the talk. And whenever you feel like the video is on, then I can come down back to the slides so that we will be able to save on the time. So just starting the PPT at my end.
Participants, are you able to see the slides? आप हमें कमेंट सेक्शन में बता सकते हैं.
Yeah,
Okay, Dr. Amit, you can start.
fine. So what I have done is on my laptop I have opened up the PPT, and I will be just scrolling through that. Even if it is not visible, I believe I will be able to. I should be able to cover all the points so that the listeners will be able to understand it better. So I'll start with the presentation with one of the quote from Swami Vivekanand. He says, "Be and make." So each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity within. So first, we should try to develop and have a potential divinity in our souls, and this can be done by controlling the nature internally and externally by four ways. Which are these? About the karmas, which is work, and the philosophy, that is the Raj Yoga, and the Gyan Yoga. So, by these four different streams, the Karma Yoga, the Raj Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, and the Karma Yoga. So, by four streams, we should be able to develop our own self, develop the divinity within ourselves, and then we can also make our society one such. So once we have been following these four paths, that all of us can be free from the bondages, free from the stress. So there are now, with the current situations, if we see, there are three different hurdles which is coming to us. So what are these three different hurdles? One is the with regard to the dissatisfaction with the modern medicines. One is that these are costly. Not everyone will be able to afford the modern medicines, as we can hear about the people getting hospitalized, and then the cost of the bill is so high, it's not possible for them. Even the US nations, who spends around 10% of their national income on the health, also seems to not bear this burden of the modern medicine. The second hurdle or the criticism with regard to the modern medicines is the distribution of the services. So people, especially in the rural areas, are not able to have the proper access to the modern services or the modern medicines, and so we have the maldistribution of the services. So it is not uniform at both the ends, the rural and the urban. The third criticism or the hurdles which we see is the attitude of the modern of the medical professionals. There are too many specialists, there are so many investigations which has been written, and it has become more of mechanical. The has a individual, but then the emotion part at many times is not there. So we need 21st century or this era is a mind body medicine, and whereby this concept of the yoga and of the Ayurveda uh, is this one. which will be connecting the body and the mind. I'll just try to go back if just to check in if the slides are visible there. Just a minute. Okay, I believe the slides are still not visible.
Slides are visible to all. You tell me, I'll
Okay.
it next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. So,
So after
yeah,
food,
I
we
think
are on the first slide.
yeah. So first slide is done, Dr. Pooja. So we can move on to the second one. Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
because
Current
it's still not.
dissatisfaction.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then you can move on to the. So what I'll do is I'll give you the numbers of the slides so that it becomes easy for you to understand and easy from my end also. Yeah. Just a minute. Yeah. So you can move on to the fourth slide, Dr. Pooja. Hello. Hello. Okay. Fourth slide, which is about the what we need to have now in this 21st century. It is about the mind-body medicine, and the spirituality is also involved in this particular kind of approach. So when we talk about yoga and Ayurveda, this is the one thing which has been always been taken into consideration, and that is why we say that our approach is a complete approach. Moving on to the slide number 5. So now let's try to understand what has been given in the modern about the stress. It says that the we have all studied about the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is about the response of the individual, which has a sympathetic and the parasympathetic kind of responses. So this all is starts from hypothalamus. So there may be some kind of conditions which will create some anger or some kind of a fear in the individual or some kind of a tensions. So we see the changes happening in hypothalamus, the autonomic nervous system, and because of this, the sympathetic nervous system, which creates the sympathy in the individual, will push the blood pressure up. There will be the constrictions of the blood vessels. There will be full contraction of the heart. The the breathing will be a bit more fast. There will be a bit more sweating coming up. So these kind of a changes is been always been seen as the events follows. So slide number 6.
Okay.
Now in the slide number 6, yeah. So we are when we talk about the prana, then immediately when we see this particular previous slide and then we come on to this, the immediately how this will be moving from or the autonomic nervous system to the heart or to the flow of the blood. So then then the answer comes that yes, it is a prana. So prana, is it energy? Yes, it is an energy which flows from the brain to the each part of the body, and that is why we are able to see this kind of a changes. So whenever we are talking about the mind-body medicine, this mind aspect will be there. If it is there, the prana is also there because it is a subtle energy. So what has been given into the our Upanishads, if we try to see, the Taittiriya Upanishads talks about the Panchakosha. What are the Panchakosha? This says there are 5 vital sheets, and these five vital sheets are Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vigyanmaya Kosha, and the Anandmaya Kosha. So Annamaya Kosha, as the word says, it is all about the physical body. So just how the food which we eat will be regulating the physical body. So it all is formed from the physical aspect of this kosha. The second vital sheath is known as the pranamaya kosha. Pranamaya, as we talk about, is a very vital sheath. It involves our breathing. It involves the flow of this prana from one part of the body to the other part of the body. So this pranamaya kosha is also equally important. The Taittiriya Upanishad, as we know, is a conversation between a father and a son, between Varuna and Bruga. Varuna is the father who also is a teacher to Bruga, and the conversation happens, and then these answers comes in the form of the Panchakosha. The third is, so as we know, Mano Man desires about sometimes to happen, to have something called तो ये विज्ञान में कोश जो है वो इंडिविजुअल को गाइड करता है. So if we are able to have a balance at all these four sheets, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya and Vijnanamaya, we can be in a state of bliss. किम् आद शरीरस्मिन् श्वर अधो व्याधिश्चेष्व यथावत् कशुमेव. Which
Dr. Amit, your voice is not clear.
okay. Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll go back to the concept of diseases. Yeah. Now the even slides are visible to me. Okay, fine. So we were talking about the concept of disease has term as vyadhi. So kim vinasha kim utpada sharirisvishvara adho vyadishishva ivattakakshu meva. So this is what has been defined or been given in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So next slide, please. So if we see the Vyadhi is of two types. Uh, uh, this, thank you. So this is Adhija and the Anadhija. So Adhis are all the mind related or which is stress born, and Anadhija are the physical one. So it says the Deha Dukkha Vidura Vyadhim Vakyam Vyasanam More Mukhe Mule He Te Vidhatva Vijnana Preksheshe. So whenever we say the De Dukkha, it is all about the Anadhija. But if we talk about the Adhija, there are two of its kind. द्विविधो हि व्याधिस्थः सामान्य सार एव च व्यवहारश्च सामान्य सारो जन्मानि यः स्मृतः. So sara and samanya are the one which is because of our interaction with the world. So the kind of interaction which we have with the world, we tend to get this adhija or stress related or the mind related kind of a vyadhis. The Sara are the one which because of the cycle of the birth and rebirth. So it is that there may be some kind of a things has happened in the previous birth, and we need to take care in this particular birth. So it is about the Vigyan or the intellect, which will be helping us to guide, and the mantras or these kind of chikitsa as we have studied in the of these. So these are the two kinds of adhis and two kind of divisions of the adhija, that is Sara and Samanya. Next slide, please. So when we are now talking about the Adhija Vyadhi, we also need to understand ki, how it begins. So we have seen in the previous slide that it is about the Manomay Kosha. So all kind of a stress begins in the Manomay Kosha, and once this stress is been developed, so the sequence follows from Annamaya to the Pranamaya and then to the Manomaya Kosha. So everything is in your mind. So that is why when we say that Ayurveda and yoga talks about mind body science, so here is the actual answer, that if we are not considering in the mind, how we will be able to give the solution. Yeah. So right, Dr. Pooja, yes, we can go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we try to understand what is the stress is the definition is given as it is speed. It is a speed of thoughts. So the morning when we get up, there are a lot of more thoughts bombarding us. It may be getting ready. It may be going to the office. It may be going to the clinic. For the mothers, it will be getting ready the tiffins or waking up the children. So speeded up thoughts. So stress, in a simple term, understood as the bombardment of thoughts. We have something like around 25,000 thoughts per day. And when we're talking about the approach, we need to slow down this bombardment of thoughts. So how we are able to do? What is the approach? Next slide. Okay, I'll try to do it from my end. Yes. Okay. So the concept is to do, not to do. So this has been what has been given in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. We have understood that it all begins in the kosha, but the modern lifestyle pulls us up in various directions. But then we should be able to the line. Sartum
Dr. Amit, your voice is not clear again.
him, show my anger to him. And if we say the situation, we will be able to understand the relations between two of us, and then probably we can be more presentable. So if we are able to follow this, I think if we are able to where we are able to all the kosha, that is the pancha kosha. So if we see at the Manomay Kosha, it was the uncontrolled speed of the thoughts. If we see at the Pranamaya Kosha, it is the uncontrolled speed which may cause some kind of a inflammation. And the physical body, it can be in the form of a physical pain. It can be a muscular pain, it can be a joint pain. So the presentations are different at different level. Now, at the Pranamaya Kosha, what has been happening? We have seen the previous slide, there are some cantavical sections. So the Adi is the mind, the stress, as we see in there is some kind of a thought which comes to us. So we can compare that thought to the flow of a water. So now let's imagine two kind of a situations. One is the clear lake and one is a violent lake. So in the clear lake, you can see the flow of the water is very smooth. So it is the normal conditions when we don't have a disturbed prana. So here we are trying to relate the flow of the water to the prana. Once there are the disturbed thoughts which has been coming to us, which will lead to the disturbed prana. So this may be in the wrong directions. So we may be having some thoughts which are going into some other directions. This may be like the flow of the water, which is in a wrong quantity. It may be because of the constrictions or because of the blocks. So what happens? The breathing will become haphazard. So as the flow of the water is been disturbed here, which has turned into the violent, same thing is happening with our breathing. So the start is at the Manomaya Kosha, and we can see the changes coming into our prana or in the Pranamaya Kosha. So let's take an example so that we can understand this better. So we are taking an example of the peptic disorder, acid peptic disorder, which we term as APD. So suppose if what we happens in APD has regard to the adija, has regard to the prana, has regard to the thoughts or the stress. We have all studied in Ayurveda about the five kind of the prana, samana, pana, vyana, udana. So now, in this situation, we are trying to consider the three: the prana, the samana, and the apana. So since there is an imbalance which is there, and we have all studied that because of the imbalance, the agni is also affected. So whenever there is a correlation between the prana and the agni. So because of the imbalances of the prana, the agni is also been affected, and the same thing is been seen here. When we are talking about the acid peptic disorders, so the flow in this particular is from reverse kind of a then too much, and because it is there at the samana, so there is a lot of acid reflexes, and this also may lead into general discomfort of aches and pains into the body. The same type, if we see stage of irritable bowel syndrome, the stage 2 of irritable bowel syndrome, when we can actually see some kind of a changes happening. So here also there is a pranic imbalance. Downwards, and samana and prana is which has shown from this our diagram is up. So again we see this sometimes it is this
Hello, Dr. Amit. Dr. Amit.
yeah. Yeah, I think there is. I am very sorry about the network issues, which is why I got lost. There was again a disconnection. I got it
Its
connected.
voice is also low. I
Low.
think,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Is it fine now, or is still on the lower
No,
side? Because okay.
this
Okay.
is good. Yeah, right now.
Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about the irritable bowel syndrome. So what we see here is that there is an imbalance of the pranic imbalance. The apana is flowing too much focused towards the downward direction, and because of this, it affects the agni. And because the agni is also getting affected, we see some kind of a kujiritvam, which means there is no digestion or there is excess digestion. So it is between the two, and that is what we see in the patients of irritable bowel syndrome. So, and along with that will be the general discomfort of aches and pains also. So we see this kind of changes happening. So if we see yoga, how it can help in the both the cases of acid peptic disorders and irritable bowel syndrome. So the pranamaya kosha, which we have seen, the pancha kosha of the Taittiriya Upanishads. So it says that to bring about a balance in this prana, there are few of the practices which has been given. So it says there is a practice which is known as sectional breathing. Our lungs will involve the three lobes: the lower, the middle, and the upper lobe. So what we do in the sectional breathing is that we'll be having the abdominal breathing, we will be having the chest breathing, and the clavicle or the shoulder breathing. So once we do this, this will help to regularize the flow of the prana, and this also stabilizes the samana. In the same way, we all know about Nadi Shuddhi. We also know this as Anulom Vilom. So, what can be done is before the meals, before the breakfast, before the lunch, before the evening snacks, and before the dinner, if we are able to do 12 rounds of Nadi Shuddhi, NS is Nadi Shuddhi. So, 12 rounds of Nadi Shuddhi, if we are able to do it 4 times a day, we will be able to have a kind of a balance in this prana. If you are able to have a balance in this kind of a prana, this will be very helpful for the patients of acid peptic disorder and irritable bowel syndrome. So we'll try to understand more about the stress. So if we see, it starts at the Manomaya kosha, and there are external demanding situations, there are internal demanding situations. External can be something which is not in our control, like the pandemic. Internal, yes, it is our response. Kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum. So if a particular situation arrives, what should I be doing? Or if something is happening in my body, within myself. So all these things, external demanding situation and the internal demanding situations, will bring about the changes in the autonomic nervous system, will bring a change in psychic, in our stress. And when the stress is been affected, we can see a change in our immune system also. And this will also affect our aging, which means when this stress builds up, this will affect our aging, and this will also affect our immune system. So that is why we say psychosomatic problems, which means there is an involvement of the stress into the body, and both this is been affected. So that is why when we say stress, the mind body medicine is very important. Now let's consider a condition of chronic pain. What happens in a chronic pain? There will be a lot of constrictions into the muscles. There is a lot of mass spasms into the muscles, and that is why in a situation of stress, these spasms are more, and that is why the pain is more. So that is why to relieve of the spasms or this prana, we can follow the practices of the pranayama. Now let's see what is about in the immune and the endocrine system. As we have seen in the previous slide, that the stress or will be affecting our immunity. So we can see this in the case of allergies, because there is a lot of stress, and this is particularly seen in all the patients of asthma who are suffering from chronic skin disorders, who may be suffering from respiratory allergies. So in these cases also, there is a mind body medicines is to be involved. So we need to take care of the stress part in these individuals. If we talk about the autoimmunity, the systemic lupus erythemus, the thyroid, the diabetes mellitus, so in this case also there is a strong correlation. So whenever we have given a practices for even for a 1 week in the patients of diabetes mellitus, we are able to see the lowering of the sugar levels of the fasting and the postprandial. So same case we have seen in the cases of the people suffering from thyroid. They have the disturbed kind of a ranges of the T3, T4, and TSH. And when the practices of the yoga or the pranayama kosha is been tackled with, we have seen the results. Same thing is with the immunity. We all know that because when the stress is more, the immunity goes down. So we have to reverse this. You lower down the stress, the immunity will improve. So if we are able to do so, what will happen is the chances of the infection will be minimized. We can see these changes in the patients of cancer also. So we understand that immune system is about a balance, about the balance in the helper cells and the suppressor cells. It is also about the pro-cytokines and the endocytokines. So once we have the lower down the stress, these two system of the body stasis. Now, if we have about the nervous system which shock, which is a part of the sympathetic nervous system aggravation, the same can be relieved of to a certain extent by parasympathetic, which means the relaxations at the bodily and the mind state. The same can be seen in cases of acid peptic disorder, irritable bowel syndrome, and asthma, where we are able to relax the body at the parasympathetic level because of the pranayama. We are able to see the changes. The aggravations of sympathetic can be seen in the cases of hypertension, the pulsation, the tachycardia, and in the cases of anxiety. So these are the certain examples. So now we were talking about the pranamay kosha and the manomay kosha. Now let's shift on what is Vijnanamay kosha and the Anandmay kosha. So Vigyan, as the word says, it is the notional correction. So we have to study a lot. We have to understand ourselves, and then there is a very good concept about the happiness analysis. It is basically from the S. Vyasa University, Swami Vivekanand Yoga Anusandhan Samsthan. It is a university for yoga and the integrated approach, and they have come out with the module of IAYT, Integrated Approach of Yoga Therapy. So, in this, they have given the concept of happiness analysis. Our chancellor of the university, Dr. Raicha Nagendraji, he speaks, he says so well about this. Let's take an example to understand this better. Suppose everybody loves to have rasgulla, and we have seen this especially in the cases of diabetic patients. So instead of having the whole piece of rasgulla, what they can do is they can do take a small piece of that, keep that into the mind, close their eyes, enjoy that movement, that wow movement, and we say MMM, mastering of the monkey mind. So the mind is monkey; it always have desires, manomay kosha, and when this locking or this kind of a having more liking for the sweets are there, can have a small piece, keep it for a longer duration instead of having two rasgullas or four rasgullas. This is a balance how we can about take about, and the diabetic patients will be also happy about this, that they have been given a small portion and they can be longing into that state of wow for a longer duration. So we have to bring about the notional correction. We have to study, we have to take the experiences of the doctors, of the other people, and then we can have a proper kind of a intellect to guide us. The state of Anandmay Kosha, or living in a state of bliss, how is it possible? It is possible by the Karma Yoga. So Shuddhe Punya Sadhyo Kriya Sadhu Asevaya. So what is it means that you do selfless service. So if we are doing our activities, our karma, then you don't expect something in this. You enjoy that movement of giving the services. If we are able to do that, then probably it will be easy for us to be in the state of a blissfulness, which we also term as Anandmay Kosha. So now, when we talk about the prana imbalance, let's try to understand about the prana in therapy. So, what the idea is that we have to reduce the excesses. Wherever the prana is more, we need to bring that back to the normalcy. We have to release the blocks. We have to clear the nadis. So, this is the approach which will be required. So, how is that? We have to use a breathing as a tool to manipulate prana. As the definition says, swasa praswasa gati vichedah. So, we have to bring about a viched in the swas and praswas, so that we are prolonging the swasa or prolonging the praswasa, and then we are trying to have a balance in this. So now, if we see with the given situation, what is been done? There is a publication in iJoy, International Journal of Yoga, which has been by Dr. R. Nagratna, Dr. H.R. Nagendraji, and Dr. Vijay Mujumdar. It has come very recently in the month of April, and it says that the yoga practices can reduce the risk of viral infections. So, if you see on that particular side, that the innate immunity has to be increased, and this is possible because by lowering down the stress. So once we are able to reduce the stress, the innate immunity will increase. The CD4 count also increases, and there are studies with regard to. Now, modulation of stress induce activation of HPA axis. If we see, there is a lot of inflammation, there is a lot of surge of the glucose, there is a lot of raised blood pressure. So, if we are giving the yoga practices, what happens? The inflammation will be reduced, which can be seen in the form of markers, and the glycemic control is there. Because the glycemic control is there, so the virulence or the activity of the pathogens will be reduced. Yes, and so is the case with the blood pressure. The blood pressure has been regularized, the inflammation has been reduced because the baroreceptor sensitivity has improved. So, the reduced aggravation of clinical symptoms in normal as well as clinical settings of diabetes and hypertension. So, all people who are having blood pressure and who are having hypertension, or they are aged, and if they are worried what to do, kya kare, so then the yoga comes to our aid. So, this is the beauty. As far as the respiratory functions are concerned, even the respiratory distress is reduced because of this yogic practice. I would like to also make a mention of one of the practices, which is Brahmari, which, if time permits, I would be like to go with every one of you practicing the same, so that I can give a small take-home message, where if we are doing the Brahmari or the humming sound creation through the throat, this will improve the antioxidants of nitric oxide. Being in a larger proportion, this will come up because of this Brahmari. So what we do is we do 27 rounds of Brahmari, and this will reduce the respiratory distress. And so what happens? The pulmonary rehab comes into the picture. So all people who are having the asthma problem or the allergy problems or who are having a stress, what is the solution? We practice yoga. So once we are doing this, we can see a lot of changes happening, and that is what the study of a prospective study on yoga as a preventive strategy for coronavirus has been published. Now there is one more paper which has been published in the month of April, which is about the COVID-19 pandemic, a pragmatic plan for Ayurvedic intervention by Sanjeev Rastogi, Deep Narayan Pandey, and Ram people, and what kind of approaches can be given to these kind of people, which is very helpful, especially for the Ayurvedic practitioners. So if you see, if there are asymptomatic kind of group of people, then still what we advise is a good lifestyle, a healthy diet, healthy lifestyle. The sleep should be adequate, the physical activities, and good conduct. So this is what we have seen in the cases of Dincharya and the Risharya. So if you have a good kind of routines, uh, then the automatically the immunity will be better. Once the immunity will be better, so is good for all this that they can take non-retrievable
Dr. Amit? Hello, Dr. Amit? Dr. Amit, your voice is not there.
Okay, I mean, sorry for the network issues which have been happening. Yes. So we were talking about expose asymptomatic or quarantine kind of patients. So we see we whatever the preparations which has been suggested. Like if we talk about ashwagandha, there is a study about the ashwagandha which says that the virus is bonding to the proteins is been minimized because of the use of ashwagandha. So ashwagandha works at both the levels, at the physical level and at the mental level. And same is the cases with the mild COVID symptoms. We have been the Pipli Rasayanam, Gojivadi Kwat, and these are suggested. And same is in the cases from moderate to severe also. So now what we do is we try to see the retrospective kind of a studies which has been done at one of the institute, that is SVIASA. We had almost 921 patients there. So if we see the kind of a graph, if you see here for the males, they were mostly suffering from gastrointestinal disorders, then diabetes, anxiety and depression, hypertension. Females were mostly having the obesity or the periods related disorders. And what we did was a general health questionnaire, which is by the WHO, was been given, and we tried to see the changes before and after. So at the anxiety level, at the sleep level, at the physical level, we have been able to see a lot of very good changes. So pre and post, if you can see, there is a lot of drop which has been seen. And what has been given to them is about the yogic kind of practices. And if we talk about the stress, then definitely the three gunas, that is the sattvic, sattva, raj, and tam, comes into the picture. So also we can see there is a increase in the sattva guna and decrease in the rajasic and the tamasic guna. So these changes have been also been recorded. So yoga, does it work in cancer? Because when we talk about the stress, yes, the same can be carry forward of the reducing the stress and improving the immunity. Yes, what happens in the we all know that there is a imbalance between the growth, replication, and the destructions, and there is overgrowth in certain kind of tissues or certain kinds of cells, and which is unhealthy. So we need to bring a balance between the two. So once we are able to have the immune system in place, and oncogenesis, oncogenes has been activated, if we are able to do that, the imbalances have been taken care in the cases of cancer. Now, if we are talking about the mind body medicine, so Ayurveda and yoga, so the clinicians or the modern psychologists have known very little about the mind. So let's see what are the emotional impact which can be seen. So, a design of a study was being developed whereby we had two groups, the control group and the interventional group, and 20 participants or the patients were selected. These were in the three different group of surgery, radiotherapy, and chemotherapy. Now, for surgery, post surgery, 2 to 4 weeks of yoga was been given. For the patients of radiotherapy, 6 weeks of yoga, and for chemotherapy, 6 cycles, which means 18 weeks of the intervention was been given. So for the other group, which was a control group, counseling was been given in the same duration. The intervention for the yoga therapy was in the form of breathing, the relaxation technique. There was some relaxation techniques. We has IRT, QRT, DRT. Then there are some advanced techniques of mind, sound, resonance, pranic, energizing techniques. And dharana, dhyan, and samadhi is the approach which was been given to in these advanced techniques, and we are able to see the changes in the anxiety score. It has dropped much better pre post surgery. If you see in the yoga group, it was 8.5 as regard to control, 11.7. Same was with regard to the chemotherapy and with regard to the radiotherapy. Depression score, if you see, yes, again, the yoga group has a better outcome with regard to the control group. So stress plays a major role in all these things. The quality of life, if you see the GHQ questionnaire, in this case also, this kind of changes have been seen. So almost I am done through the presentations. I am open for any kind of a questionnaires. If time permits, there is a certain practices which probably I may like to take. So,
Yeah.
Doctor, yeah.
Dr. Amit, the first question is, can thyroid levels get normal by doing only yoga?
Okay. Now, this also will depend upon the severity of the thyroid in the individual. Number one, it will also depend upon the prakriti of the patient. So these two things has to be taken into the mind for me to answer these particular questions. Yes, but then we have seen the changes at our clinical levels, whereby we have given the practices of yoga and Ayurveda, and we were able to see very good changes. So I'll advise them to go down to their physicians, Ayurvedic physicians, who will be able to guide them in this regard. Yes.
Second participant, Dr. Monica, has asked why we have given so much importance to the stress management.
Okay. Because we take the mind body into consideration. So if we see the modern medicines, they only take the medication part into consideration. So when we say the mind body, definitely it involves the mind, and it has been neglected by them. So this is why, particularly to generate the confidence on the people and into the practitioners of the Ayurveda and yoga, I wanted to give home this point, and that is why I have stressed upon this factor.
Next question is how to deal with stress in this pandemic situation.
Very good question. There is a practice which is known as synchronized global prayer, SGP, as I was talking about in my session. It involves Brahmari. Brahmari is to be done, which will involve the inhalation for 5 seconds and exhalation for 10 seconds, and we try to create a humming sound from the throat. And we can do it by keeping the hands in the chin mudra and keeping your neck and spine erect and keeping your eyes closed, more aware about your breathing. And if you do it 27 rounds, this will create the antioxidant nitric oxide into the body, and this helps to the people to get out of the respiratory distress, and which also works as a preventive. There are the practices now in which is available in the YouTube, has COVID-19 practices by S. Vyasa. S. Vyasa is Swami Vivekanand Yoga Anusandhan Samsthan. So these practices are also available on the YouTube, which you can use it for yourself in these pandemic conditions.
Next question is any specific guidelines for the old age patients in such situation?
Yes. we have come out very simple kind of a module. In fact, tomorrow, as all of you know, is the International Day of Yoga. So we all will be celebrating like a festival tomorrow, and people will be practicing different kind of practices. If you We also have come out with some of the practices whereby we sit and then we do practices in on the chair. So all these people who are into their desktop, who are working for more than 8 hours on the chair, so all they need is some of the care for their spine. And so is our elderly patients who may not be able to do the standing kind of a Surya Namaskar. So we have come out with this kind of a module whereby chair Surya Namaskar can be done. Hands practices and the practices for the spine, which can be done on the chair. We have come out this kind of a module which is now available on the YouTube also. So these are the few of the practices which will involve the physical and the breathing practices, which will be helpful for our all our elderly people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. I think we should conclude the session. Any more questions from any participants? No, Dr. Amit, we will conclude the session.
Yeah, we can conclude by 3 Shanti mantras, which I'll request everyone to say so that we pray for the
There
well-being
is
of
last
everyone.
one more question. Can I ask?
Surely, please.
Can we control the hypertension in initial stage by practicing yoga?
Definitely. We have seen people in the early stand when they have started with the medications, even they have been benefited with the practices of yoga. So very well. Yeah, a lot of clinical trial has been done in this regard. It definitely works. There is no doubt. So the practice of Anulom Vilom, which I has talked about, whereby we will be doing only the Nadi Shuddhi, which is also termed, is also very effective in this. If we are doing only the left nostril breathing, which also will be stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, or which will bring about more of relaxation in the individual, will be very helpful in these cases of high blood pressure. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Amit.
Yeah, so we'll end the session with 3 Shanti mantras. We can all sit with our neck and spine erect. We can close down the eyes. We'll chant 3 Omkaras. We can all take a deep breath in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, one and everyone. God bless everyone. Thank you, Dr. Pooja.
Amit. Thanks to all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.